Hello and welcome back to the Stronghold. I'm the Magi, and today we are going to take another look at Wilds of Eldraine, most specifically those lower rarity cards that you may still need to add to your collection, particularly if you were not around when Wilds of Eldraine was originally released. This season I'm hanging out with the friends here in Balloonboro, and well, I don't really look any different. Apparently I'm always in beast mode. And if you want your Magic the Gathering experience on and off Arena to be in beast mode too, make sure to check out my Patreon page because, let's be honest, not everything makes it to YouTube. Now, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, right. What you may not realize is once you have unlocked level 60 of the Balloonboro Mastery Pass, you have in fact received all the free packs of Wilds of Eldraine that really we ever expect to get. So while you may still take advantage of the occasional discounted pack, pick up rares or mythics from golden packs, or pick up Wilds of Eldraine jump-in packs, it's pretty fair to say that your free-to-play Wilds of Eldraine collection is about as developed as it's going to be. So that makes this the perfect time to look at those lower rarity cards and fill in any gaps that might still exist. And in order to narrow our selection down to those truly core cards, there's three broad areas that we're going to be talking about. Red Deck Wins is a basic grinder deck that everyone probably does, or at least should have some version of. We're also going to take into account those singleton cards for your formats like Brawl and Standard Brawl that give you a little bit of break from whatever your primary play is, whether that's Standard, Alchemy, Historic, whatever. And then we're also going to be looking at those overperforming cards, those that are just hitting so much harder than their rarity would indicate and are truly versatile in today's primarily standard meta. When it comes to those mono red or red X decks, there is one card from Wilds of Eldraine that stands out above the rest. The instant speed 1 mana Monstrous Rage. This card already sees a lot of play in a variety of red-based decks, and it's only going to go up for here. I think this is an absolute must for anyone who's running mono red anywhere in their arsenal. And let's not forget, Monstrous Rage also puts an enchantment into play on its resolution, which is going to be increasingly relevant with the Duskmourn release. And speaking of the Duskmourn release, if you have any aspirations of playing the turn 2 Red Menace deck that is going to be coming out due to a rare on that, you are probably going to want to make sure you have your copies of Callous Sellsword. Yep, it's a red card, not Rakdos, really. I personally believe that deck is not going to prove to be the menace that everyone seems to think that it is. So, of course, invest in your Callous Sellswords conservatively if you so desire. Red has a few more cards to consider. For instance, Picnic Ruiner, Witchstalker Frenzy, and Immodane's Recruiter are all good cards that see solid play. But I think we're going to see a decreasing amount of play on all of these cards. Unless you need them for a very specific deck, I would pass on these. Next up, I'd like to discuss the Wilds of Eldraine Essential Food Package that really should be in every budget player's pantry. Starting off with the common Ginger Brute, being colorless and a 1/1 with haste. This fits in so many decks, from your mono red variants to, of course, the food deck. It is a fantastic addition to the black-green Golgari starter deck this year. Just fits in so many places. Really, everyone should have it. Of course, his bigger brother, the Tough Cookie, is a green spell, and really this unlocks the Simic Cookies package. I would really only get this card for that deck, but that deck right now is performing phenomenally. As I'm recording this, I think I have something like a 62% win rate with it, and it is vast majority commons and uncommons. Last up, we've got Arati's Tempting Apple. This uncommon for 4 mana is a legendary artifact food. You really only need 1 copy of that, and it fits into not only the Simic Cookies deck that we talked about, but really this can fit very nicely into any Brawl or Standard Brawl deck that you build this year. For the Bloomburrow season, any form of black blue or black red rats did not make my budget deck tier list, and to be perfectly frank, I stand by that recommendation. However, we are starting to see some rat decks with pretty positive win rates. So if you are looking to start experimenting around with that, maybe as a tier 2 deck, there are some serious considerations from Wilds of Eldraine. First up, we've got Lord Skitter's Butcher as an uncommon. Can make all of your rats have menace, or all of your creatures, or rather. It can help you to scry 2 and draw a card, or to simply create a 1/1 black rat creature token that cannot block. Next up for consideration, we've got the common Voracious Vermin that not only brings a 2/1 body for 3 mana, but also creates one of those rat tokens. And whenever another creature dies, as rats are apt to do, it gets +1/+1 in the form of a counter. And then last up, we've got a pretty specific removal piece, the 1 mana instant Rat Out, which can give up to 1 target creature -1/-1 until end of turn. It also creates one of those rat tokens. And because it doesn't specifically have to target a creature with its removal aspect, you can just use this as a turn 1, end of turn, create a rat token, which does give it a little more versatility. And of course, the removal aspect helps you win that occasional combat as well. Wilds of Eldraine did have an uncommon series of legendary creatures to lead your Brawl or Standard Brawl decks. And in fact, Obra, Johan, and Greta were all represented in the 2025 starter deck class. And frankly, I think it leaves Wilds of Eldraine perfectly well represented. However, if you are looking to add an additional commander potential from this set, I think the only card really worth considering is Ash, but I personally would not craft this card. I don't think it's anything other than a trap in Commander. Now, for better or worse, I don't feel like there's any must-have rares or mythics from the Wilds of Eldraine set. Just continue to have fun with the cards that you have. That having been said, the man lands from Wilds of Eldraine are relatively impressive. In particular, Restless Cottage is going to do a lot of work for you in any Orzhov Life Matters deck. And very similarly, Restless Cottage is going to be perfectly at home in any Golgari food-based deck, of which you already have one at the very least in your starter deck. And of course, 1 copy fits perfectly well into a Brawl deck version as well, perhaps built around the aforementioned Greta. Now, aside from the previously mentioned Rats cards, of course, Wilds of Eldraine does have a few specific Mice and Bunny cards at various rarities, but right now I feel like those decks kind of need to prove themselves, particularly in what is about to be a very shifting meta. Mice may not be everything we think it is, and rabbits might be a little further behind. Those are my thoughts overall, but of course, as always, I want to know what you think. What cards from this set do you think are sleepers? Anything you feel like I'm wrong about, may have missed, whatever, throw it down in the comments. Conversation helps everyone. And before we go, while every member of this community is important to me, I just wanted to take a moment and give a shout out to those patrons providing financial support and keeping the Stronghold from being a complete financial black hole. And of course, let me leave you with some suggestions for your next step here on the channel.